Afternoon. Welcome to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show. My name is Leon Jones. This afternoon's topic, it's basically going to be a piggyback off the previous video I did. I'm going to talk about the types of mental illness that cause social psychological behaviors. That's right. Now, if you listen to the first video I did earlier, I just gave you an overview and some events that take place with some of the mental disorders. What I'm getting to is the root cause, because we always look at behavior, but really the root cause of what's going on with any psychological disorder is mental illness. Now, I am not a psychiatrist or a psychologist. However, I have studied the material well enough to know what different symptoms are, because if you are in a work environment, you can see what's going on with some of your employees. In fact, an event took place this afternoon in Florida at the Merrimack Center, where a gentleman was fired today. Then he goes back and kills two of his employees. And a lot of that has been taking place over the past 20 years since the Columbine shooting. Not that it didn't take place prior, but you see a lot of these disorders, and a number of us sweep them under the rug. And also, what's included with some of these disorders, I forgot to mention it in the first video, we have insecurity, and we definitely have jealousy and control issues. And if you're in a relationship, this definitely will take effect. You'll find that the person will talk to you nice. Then what happens if they see you doing something that's in their minds offending them? They're going to become jealous. Then you're going to feel the verbal attacks, then the physical attacks, and probably even death. It's a person that has a control issue, very insecure. And you're going to have insecurity when you had somebody who has come out of a bad relationship, and everything you do is going to be magnified. You're going to be questioned, and what's going to happen, you're going to feel like you need a mental institution. So pay attention to this video, because I'm going to list some of these mental health issues that stem or connect to the psychological disorders or behaviors, because again, we focus too much on the behavior, but the root cause is mental illness. Now, what is mental illness, first of all? Well, mental illness is a condition that affects a person's thinking, feeling, and behavior. The mainstream medical community recognizes more than 200 classified types of mental illnesses. Wow, that's a lot. Now, these conditions can alter your ability to relate to other people, work, and attend school, and can prevent you from living a normal life. Now, different types of mental illnesses offer different experiences and symptoms, and they may vary from person to person, even when they share the same diagnosis. Now, when we come down to mental illness, there are 5 categories. Now, the 5 categories are anxiety disorders, mood disorders, schizophrenia and psychotic disorders, dementia, and eating disorders. Now, it's important to remember that each condition will vary greatly from person to person, since we're all different. Now, first, let's get into stigma and mental illness. When you're concerned about your mental health, or that you're concerned about a loved one's mental health, you should definitely talk to a qualified health provider, because many people with mental illnesses feel stigmatized for their condition, but treatment for these disorders has come a long way. So mental illness requires the same need and treatment just as any physical ailment. Now, getting to the types of mental illnesses, I'm going to talk about anxiety disorders. Anxiety disorders affect approximately 40 million adults age 18 and older each year. Now, anxiety disorders are a form of mental illness that causes people to experience distressing and frequent bouts of fear and apprehension. Many will experience these feelings when periodically doing things like public speaking or job interviewing. Those with anxiety disorders experience these feelings frequently and for an experience or an extended period of time. Not experience, they do experience these symptoms, but for basically a longer period of time or an extended period of time, 6 months or greater. Now, if not treated, the symptoms can worsen. And in those symptoms, you'll have panic attacks, physical symptoms such as pain, nausea, and headaches, nightmares, obsessive thoughts, and fear of leaving the house. Now, the common diagnosis of any mental illnesses under the category of anxiety disorders that will include a panic disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder known as OCD, post traumatic disorder, PTSD, sociophobia, which is a social anxiety disorder, and a GAD. It's a generalized anxiety disorder. Next, you will have mood disorders. Now, every one of us has experienced feelings of sadness, irritability, and the general cause of the blahs at one time or another. However, while bad moods are common and they usually pass in a short period of time, people suffering with mood disorders live more sustained and severe symptoms and disruptions. Now, people living with this mental illness find that their mood impacts both their mental and psychological well-being nearly every day and often for much of the day. Now, it is estimated that 1 in 10 adults suffer from some type of mood disorder, with the most common conditions being depression and bipolar disorder. With proper diagnosis and treatment, most of the living with mood disorders, that's right, most people who are living with mood disorders basically lead healthy and productive lives. Now, if left untreated, these illnesses can affect role functioning, quality of life, and many chronic physical health disorders such as diabetes and heart diseases. Now, schizophrenia and psychotic disorders. Now, this is really big because this is what's affecting some of the violent behaviors, the narcissistic behaviors that we have, and the behaviors of mental illnesses when it comes to handling truth and criticism. Right here, pay attention, because we're going to talk about schizophrenia. Because schizophrenia is a serious brain disorder that is marked by significant changes and disruption in both cognitive and emotional function. Now, schizophrenia has an effect on the most basic human aspects of life. I'll give you an example. We're going to talk about language, communication, train of thought, perception of objects, self, and others. That's right. Language, communication, train of thought, perception of objects, self, and others. That's a big one. Now, here are some areas that you must understand that schizophrenia include: hearing voices, hallucinations, delusions, social withdrawal, incoherent speech, abnormal reasoning. Then we move down to dementia. Dementia is disguised by a disruption of consciousness as well as changes in cognitive health, such as memory loss and motor skills. The most common forms of dementia include Alzheimer's disease, heart conditions, head trauma, HIV, Parkinson's, and substance-induced dementia. Example, drugs, alcohol, inhalants, or exposure to toxins. Now we get down to eating disorders, one that has even led people to some suicides. Karen Carpenter of the Carpenters, she was one of them. Now, eating disorders are very serious, chronic conditions that could be life-threatening. If left untreated, these conditions typically take root during the adolescent years and primarily affect females. While there are variations in the expression, symptoms, and course of eating disorders, the common thread is that they all involve obsessive and sometimes distressing thoughts and behaviors, including reduction of food intake, overeating, feelings of depression or distress, concern of weight, body shape, and poor image. Now, at the onset, these disorders begin with the person eating smaller or larger portions than usual. However, over time, urges to decrease or increase the amount of food take hold and the illness escalates. The three most common types of mental disorders are anorexia nervosa, which that's self-starvation, bulimia nervosa, that's binge eating, followed by purging, fasting, or excessive exercise, binge eating disorder, that's episodes of uncontrolled eating without the abuse of laxatives or vomiting, associated bulimia. Now, the National Institute of Mental Health estimates that more than 45 million, that's right, the NIMH, which is the National Institute of Mental Health, estimated that more than 45 million Americans have mental health issues in any given year. They had mental health issues in any given year, without half, that's right, without half of them seeking treatment. So that means 23 million sought treatment and the other 22 million didn't seek treatment. Well, while the majority of us will have concerns about our mental well-being from time to time, mental illness is diagnosed when there are ongoing and increasing signs and symptoms to cause continual stress and impact our quality of life and our quality to function. Yes, this is the root cause of the problem that you see in all of our communities. And most of us don't want to talk about it because, number one, we don't even know we have the issue because we haven't studied it. And this is why it's very important to become educated with these issues. We see the event taking time. So if you saw the first video that I did, I just gave you examples of some of the disorders that took place. Here, it will help you by listening to this video, give you an idea of what's taking place. And again, the first video, I wasn't attacking anyone. I was utilizing examples because you have to paint a picture when you are discussing any type of content so people will understand. And again, what follows in the footsteps of all of these mental issues comes from your behavior, what's in your behavior, your emotion. And you want to make sure you construct your emotions so you don't become violent, hateful, filled with insecurity, pain. Because a number of us, because we don't like ourselves, sometimes we will put others who are doing better than us down to make ourselves feel better. I see that a lot. And that's that envy and that jealousy. And that's why we have the crabs in a barrel mentality. And this is especially when you hear some of the African Americans talk, when you hear the word coon and any other name like Sambo, that's regurgitated material to try to make one feel bad because they're not living in the crabs in a barrel mindset. They have independent thinking. But once you study all of these disorders, you will find that the root of the problem to what's going on in every community is these disorders. Again, a lot of us don't want to talk about them, but we should talk about them because they're very, very important. And if one doesn't know about these disorders, then we can't speak about it. I thank God that I did some research on these disorders because I work with people and I've seen some of these disorders taking place. And again, with the events, with all these shootings, the high violence, the rape culture, even in some of the rap music, narcissism, that's a big one. And if you want to hear more about narcissism, the gentleman to go to is the Love Doctor, Benjamin, it's Andrew Benjamin. The Truth Hurts. He has over 150 videos. He is a scholar with a dollar when it comes to narcissism. He can tell you all about it because that is definitely a part of schizophrenia, the false beliefs. In fact, most of the behavior that I actually talked about really comes from the schizophrenia and the psychological disorders, the hallucinations and the delusions, because schizophrenia is basically a delusion because it's based off of delusional beliefs. You can hand somebody the facts, sit in their lap, they're not going to want to hear the facts because they believe only what they believe. And that's where narcissism stems from. So, looking at all of these orders, if you want to know where the root cause of the psychological problems are in every community, whether it's black, white, Hispanic, one must understand that there are all mental illnesses. People aren't cray-cray, they're just sick. And our job is to help them. But if you want help, you have to be able to help yourself. You have to acknowledge that you have a problem. Do not be in denial. Don't be too prideful to ask for help because we're all human beings. We all need help. No one is perfect. So after putting this second video out, just watch the two videos. They're very important because if you want to know what's dragging down your community, the root cause is not the behavior, because the behavior is just a derivative from what I just told you, the mental health issues, because you have a number of people who are unstable psychologically. And once you cover the mental health issues and they're diagnosed by the proper professional, then we can treat them. Until then, I want everybody to understand we're all human, we all have flaws. But the difference between a success and a failure, we recognize our flaws. We handle criticism and we handle truth. We take our emotions and divert them in a positive way instead of a destructive way. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show, second video for today, Sunday, April 9th, 2017. You can tune into the 411 Talk Zone radio show every Saturday. And we had a good radio show yesterday. And shout out to Brother Real Deal and Brother Matt Coley. Check out The Real Deal. He's going to be doing his Sunday freestyle tonight. Brother Matt Coley, Big Body Production, and Sister Coley as well, Matt's mom. We took a lot of topics. We put them into a 3-hour segment. And you're free to join the radio show. The guest call-in number, it's going to be every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Blog Talk Radio. The link is at the bottom of the video. Just click on the link. You can also leave me an email. I'll give you the email information in a minute. But the guest call-in number to the Blog Talk Radio show is 215-383-5785. And if you like my videos, please share and subscribe to the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube, so I can continue to give you quality information for educational purposes from a professional and mature perspective. Now, on my channel, I do not debate, I don't discuss controversy or emotional issues, nor do I participate in drama or unnecessary bickering. My channel is an educational channel, so I'm here to teach. My job is to give you the tools from a realistic and positive perspective so you can apply them to the real world to make better decisions so you do not have to struggle. And plus, utilizing my channel as a stop for negativity is counterproductive. So knowledge is power. And if you have a business a topic or new YouTube channel that you would like for me to discuss on YouTube or Blog Talk Radio, please email me at lej6521@gmail.com. Again, that's lej6521@gmail.com. And if you have a comment, please leave your comments in the comment section. But make sure that your comments are pithy, no bloviating, pettifogging, or filibustering, if you wish to opine. That's it for this video. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. Remember, please be gentle and respectful to each other, and have a wonderful and blessed afternoon.